So yeah, I'm James, creative director and founder at Koto.
I'm Tim, creative director at Koto. We work with a lot of young businesses with a lot of energy in the world, and I think that's reflected through the people in the studio, and this sense of the effort that everyone puts in is enormous, and we reflect that.
Yeah,
comes through in the culture.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's probably best summed up with an Anthony Burrell poster: work hard and be nice to people. I think that is maybe the secret. He said it a lot better than I could ever say it, and I think it is a combination of those two things.
It's kind of the ethos behind the studio of doing the best work possible and working with our clients really closely to make sure everything we deliver is to the highest possible standard, and kind of building those relationships with our clients over time, which has just led us into more and more work. So
I think one thing I always found previously when I went for a job at another agency, before I walked in the front door, I had no sense of what it was like to work there. I saw the work, I saw their about page, and that was it. And you had no sense of who was the cast of characters, where are they, what does it feel like, and I think for us we've wanted to be a bit more open about that. I'm sure some people probably find our social media output a bit boring, but it's not for everybody, and so therefore I think being a bit more open about that and making sure that people get a sense of what it might be like to work here. We should never have a marketing meeting, we should never have a social media meeting. Agencies are guilty of over-meeting, if that's a word, and I think what we do is something feels like it might be good to share with the outside world. In that moment in time, one of us gets our phones out, gets our keyboard across, writes a tweet, sends an Instagram, whatever it is, and it's being limbic about it and going, this is something that feels interesting to us, so maybe it feels interesting to the outside world. Not doing a glut of content, not trying to be overly strategic with your social media. The best social media people have got followings and have got engagement because they're showing something of themselves, of their authentic selves, and so trying to apply that onto your studio. I think a couple of rules for me personally in starting Koto: no new business teams, no social media marketing managers. Just don't need them. If we can't explain who we are as individuals on social media and as a team, then we're probably not doing a very good job at exposing ourselves externally. We came up with them on the roof of the Tate Modern, stood up in 45 minutes, and we wrote them there and then. And it was very much simply, at that moment in time, Koto was 5 or 6 people. We all stood up and we said, what do we want to be? We all mapped what each other said, didn't write anything down, we just talked about it. And out the back of that, we came with 3 composite values. And I think the way that they operate in the office is making sure that sometimes if we have that moment that we all do in our human existences where the chips are down or we're up against it or someone's come back to us maybe some really negative feedback or something, is use the values to get us back up to where we need to be. So, whether that's about being optimistic or positive, or whether it's just realising that actually relentless hustle is required to get through at the end of the day. There used to be the old model of design where you got the brief, you got all the information, you got all the content, and then you were a conduit to turn that into something that would then communicate to the world. We can spend hours thinking about why that doesn't exist anymore and beating our chests and being annoyed about it, but those days are gone. We rarely get a brief from some clients. We rarely have all the information at the beginning of a project, and so those values have to help Tim, myself, Joey, and the other creative leaders in this business get maybe the younger members of staff or members of staff that are stuck on something to a place where they can re-find their love for what they're doing or get a breakthrough.
I don't think it's something you need to explain to everyone in the studio. They kind of know that they're implicit, and it's not something you need to keep repeating. Everyone just kind of lives by it, and it's just a reflection of who we are.
They're not written on the walls. There's no as you walk down the stairs, brand values remind you every day when you come into work. It's much more come on, we're an optimistic bunch, And in mapping them on our website, it's actually, rather than us having a bit of a long dry about us where you get the potted history of the founders and you get this and you get that, it's much more of a if you want to work with us, and quite a few people do check us out online, these are the kind of people we are.
Yeah, and it's making sure that people we're working with reflect the same kind of values, and kind of that's how we're going to get on and do good work.
I think a lot of people don't realise that their website is essentially Tinder for agencies. And it's like, you know, you've got clients, you've got agencies, they're short of time, they want to work with someone. Normally, you know, no one ever comes to us and goes, we've got unlimited time and unlimited money. And so therefore your website should do a good job at saying, here's some stuff that will hopefully get you excited about working with us, but our website is never going to be a full replacement for you meeting us face to face. So let's have a coffee, talk about what you're facing, how we might be able to help you, and how you've got brand or digital or whatever those needs are. And by the way, we're a values-driven company, and here what they are, because this might be the thing that signs us being the right person. So beginner's mind is about us being open to stuff. I think, you know, the further you go through your career, you create elastic responses to stuff. We're all used to that in our kind of everyday lives where, you know, I've seen this situation before, I've had this experience, shortcut to the answer that you find yourself. And I think actually if we did that, we'd end up with a situation where, like, if we're working with a finance client, they're a finance client, so therefore they probably want blue, they probably want a more corporate typeface, they probably want, you know, a vision that's very much about trust or safety or any of those things like that. And actually if you use beginner's mind, it's like, actually this is an open book and we should challenge them within this space.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about thinking things in a creative perspective as well, and not, like you say, jumping to conclusions as to assuming that it's about something, and kind of being quite open to learning as well.
Yeah, I think my experience of, like, being a designer in London for the last kind of 16 years is such that there's quite a lot of cynical people out there as well. Cynicism and skepticism are two traits that a lot of creatives hold. You know, we hold our heroes and our tenements of creativity really high, and if other people don't understand those, well, you know, they're not in the club, they don't get it. And so I think for us, it's about saying, actually, you know what, let's get ourselves on the same level as these people. You know, everything that we know about creative and all of our favourite things that we like and all the reference points that we've pulled throughout our life don't set us apart from those person. It's actually our role, our job to get them as excited in the power of design to make change within their businesses, you know.
Also, a lot of the clients' businesses we're working with are quite complex, some of them, so we are coming at as beginners and our clients are the experts at what they do. So it's learning from them and taking insights as much as we can and immersing ourselves in kind of what they know, their culture, what the market is, and kind of really building our knowledge from there.
The standard rule in business, beyond creative business, is hire people that are better than you because they'll make you all shine. I think creative companies have often struggled with that because they don't want to be outshone, or they've got their own vulnerabilities, or they don't understand it. It's like, you know, I will hands up say that half the people that work at Koto, maybe more, are way better at design than I am, and I think that's good. I think it's positive. I think it gets that feeling of ownership out of all of them. So I think if you want to, I don't think you could grow for growth's sake, but if you want to kind of get out of the blocks and get going, then you're going to have to let go of some of it, otherwise you'll end up in a bottleneck where you're the stopper that's stopping anything happening.